era, John Wayne, was in this movie. And, it was exciting for me because, I wanted to be in the movies because I wanted to be a cowboy star. I grew up with cowboys, Roy Rogers and, some of the later cowboys, not necessarily the earlier ones, but, I had my own cap gun and holster, and my early headshots was me with a gun and a holster and no front teeth. That was pretty exciting looking, I guess. And I never got to be in a Western. I tried that for years. Although I did do one of the first things I ever did was a toy lariat commercial with Roy Rogers. I don't know whatever became of it. I never saw that either. But it's me and Roy Rogers spinning these lariats, and then he lariats me, ropes me, and pulls me over to him. So anyway, lo and behold, 61 or 62, 63, my agent got a call from a big director named Henry Hathaway, who worked with John Wayne, God knows how many films, and he thought I'd be right for the oldest son of George Papard. Came in, met him, really nice guy when I met him, and I got hired pretty much on the spot to do this film. So in between seasons of My Three Sons for about 3-4 months, I was in Prescott, Arizona, Kingman, Arizona, by Lone Pine, California, where all the great Westerns were filmed, and got to be in this really incredible movie that, like My Three Sons, has stood the test of time. In fact, they restored the film, I think it was back in 2010. There was a guy that, because film after a while deteriorates, it gets scratched. There's a guy named Dave Strohmeyer that was restoring all the Cinerama films, and he restored for MGM the How the West Was Won, and they re-premiered it in 2010. Anyway, I met him. We sort of became friends, but I couldn't believe how many people showed up for this screening, and I think they ran it for a week.
Wow.
TCM, was on board with all the advertising and everything. So, yeah, it was really a fun project. And anyway, after that, every year they would run it at least once at the ArcLight Cinerama Theater, which is, I believe, I think there's 2 Cinerama theaters left. I think one's in Seattle or Portland, and the other is the one in Hollywood, the ArcLight Cinerama Theater. And anyway, so they started asking me to introduce the film. I would imagine before that, they could get other cast members, but by sheer attrition, everybody's gone. I did introduce it, I think, a couple times with Debbie Reynolds, who played my great aunt in it. And one of the stuntmen, Lauren Janes, big stuntman, literally forever, and worked on every amazing film where stunts were done. He and I introduced it a couple times. I think I did it with Russ Hamlin one time. And anyway, so a couple months ago, they ran it at the ArcLight and asked me to come back. And this guy, Dave Strohmeyer, who restored the film, myself, and then Todd Fisher, the son of Debbie Reynolds, came, and he talked about his mom making the film and brought this little Super 8 film he had made on the set. So it was kind of cool to see her in between scenes. And yeah, so in my life, those are the 2 things I'm known for. I didn't realize that How the West Was Won had become almost as big a deal as My Three Sons and had all these fans, but I can see why. I mean, in watching the film, I've seen it probably a dozen times since then, and it really, really holds up. With or without the Cinerama, the story is great. The story is really good.
It does sound like a great movie and makes me want to go rent it. And, of course, as George Papard said, like in the A-Team from many years ago, I love it when a plan comes together.
This one did. It really did. Well, it had 3 great directors, too. Forget I didn't work with one of them. The 2 that I worked with was Henry Hathaway, and the other was legendary, too, a guy named John Ford, who literally discovered John Wayne, and he was in all those John Ford Westerns in the beginning of his career. So, yeah, it's good feather in my cap and my resume to say I'd worked with all these, great directors, and yeah, a lot of fun.
Yes, it does sound like a lot of fun. We'll get to a little bit more of My Three Sons in just a minute. I'd like to remind you, you're listening to The Mike Wagner Show on themikewagnershow.com. Also powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com. If you're looking for a professional website without breaking a budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 800-303-3960. That's 800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, you're going to hear The Mike Wagner Show on themikewagnershow.com. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can also hear Mike Wagner Show on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We're here with Stanley Livingston, best known as Chip on My Three Sons. Also appeared on How the West Was Won. We've talked about a lot. He also appeared on Attack the 60-Foot Centerfold, Please Don't Eat the Daisies, and many, many more. He's also got his own production company, which he started at 18 years old. But first of all, just getting back to a little bit of My Three Sons, we'll venture into other projects as well. You've had your great experiences with Fred MacMurray, Tim Considine, William Demarest, Tina Cole, William Frawley, and of course, just tell us what's it like working with those classic actors and actresses.
Well, eventually, in retrospect, it was great. However, at the time, when I first started My Three Sons, I did the pilot, I believe it was 1959 when I was 9 years old. And I didn't, I'd seen Fred MacMurray, but it didn't mean all that much to me, to be really honest. I wasn't of his generation, so I totally wasn't in awe of him or anything like that. So that, that's probably a good thing, because I think a lot of times when new actors are working with some big star, it's very intimidating. It's hard really to separate their stardom from, just being another guy like you are. So, yeah, we had a nice, easy, relaxed relationship. And, yeah, he was a great guy, a great role model. I enjoyed, at the beginning, we had the grandfather on the show was William Frawley, who had come to My Three Sons right from I Love Lucy. He was the Fred Mertz character.
I remember him, yes.
Yeah, very, very beloved by audiences, and quite a character on the set and off the set. So, I bonded with him. He kind of became the grandfather I never knew on either side of my family. So we were fast friends and would go to ball games and hang out together. And, it's basically, I spent a lot of my time on the set hanging out with Fred Mertz, who played the character Bub on My Three Sons.
Ethel, where's Lucy?
Yeah. Well, next door to us, they started to shoot the Lucy show, which had Ethel, and so they were able to keep perpetuating their ongoing feud with each other, calling each other various expletives. But it was fun. He was a fun guy, and the other guys on the show were great. Tim Considine had actually worked with Fred MacMurray a couple times, I believe, but most recently he was in The Shaggy Dog.
I remember that. That's a classic.
Yeah, no, it was great. So Tommy Kirk was the other son. He was the one that kept turning into the Shaggy Dog, and then there was a Shaggy Dog in the movie, and Tim Considine, and there was a younger brother, Kevin Corcoran. The guy played Moochie on the Disney shows. So, yeah, if you look at it, I really think that's where the idea for My Three Sons may have actually started. With somebody looking at that and thinking, that combination of characters is interesting. Let's add a grandfather, and there you go. We got a TV show. So I think that's what happened. That's kind of my guess, anyway. And they tried that combo and went on TV in 1960, September 29th, 1960. And from that point on, it was a hit TV show and kept going and going and going. Who knew?
I would say who knew too, and of course, having your brother, real life brother Barry on the show, who also played Ernie. So it's just like, did you guys play it out like you did in real life, like at home, or was it just simply say, hey, you're supposed to do this, supposed to do that? And I'm sure you guys, operate very well on the set and off the set.
Yeah, we've probably gotten a few more fist fights off the set than on, but we're pretty close brothers the whole time. But like any brothers, you get into scraps once in a while over something. But yeah, I was really happy to have him on the set, and not that I wanted to see Tim leave, but he was leaving voluntarily, and wanted to see what else show business had to offer for him career wise, and I think he had aspirations to become a director and producer and writer. So he left, and it was a show called My Three Sons, and we suddenly had two sons. We needed a third son in a hurry. But by that point, my brother was actually on the show playing a friend of mine, a schoolmate. And he'd come home and, they had some episodes that actually they wrote kind of around him, even though he really wasn't a cast member yet. But, people seemed to warm up to his character. So it was decided he was going to be a foster child, and the Douglas Hold was going to adopt him. And anyway, it killed two birds with one stone. He got adopted, and we had a third son. The show could still be called My Three Sons.
Oh, it sounds like it worked beautiful, too. That must have been one of the challenges, and, of course, it's also unique. So what other challenges have you faced in My Three Sons?
Well, for us, the challenge was when the season would end, both Barry and I were of the age where we were still in school, and we had to go to school when we weren't shooting. Most kids in Hollywood that were on various TV shows there was a school in Hollywood called Hollywood Professional School, and they went there 3 hours a day. And my parents decided we weren't going to be with other actors, we were going to be with real kids, and so they wanted us to go back to public school. And at the time it was pretty intimidating, having been out of the realm of public school and going back into it, because you knew everybody's going to be, staring at you and coming up to you and either wanting to be your friend or wanting to kill you.
Yeah, beat the crap out of you. Yeah. I'm better than you. It's like, that mentality. So I've been through it too.
Yeah. Well, came back and most of them want to be your friends, but there was always, one or two a-holes that, would mock you or do stuff, and finally couldn't take it anymore, and you'd be in some kind of fist fight or altercation, and some I won, I guess some I lost. I don't know. I can't even remember anymore. But at that age, everybody is you're just trying to sort of slowly move into your teenage years and then your manhood. Mm-hmm. So everybody's personalities at that point is being defined as to whether you're going to be an A-type personality, a B, or a wimp, or whatever. So, that was daunting, but after a week it would wear off. You cause a stir in every class you would go into, because suddenly there's Chip Douglas sitting in your class, and it was hard for, kids to separate that. And, or other ones thought, he thinks he's special or whatever. So, that was always daunting to try and just be like they were and, get through that part of it. And after, a couple of weeks, when they saw you, were the same as they were, they'd forget about you being on the show, I think.
It just seems like the novelty wears off after a while, then things go back to normal and everything just goes as planned. That sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. And, it wasn't like I was there for a long time, I think, which made it difficult, too. I'd go into public school, like I said, for the first 2-3 weeks. It was a horror in my life. And then, you'd have another month where it was pretty much it. And then by the end of the third month, I'd be going back to work. So I'd be pulled out of school and back on the set and, back with a tutor. And that was the one good thing about having Barry when he finally joined the show permanently. At least I had somebody on the set that was my age. So, and my brother and I did get along real well. So, it was nice to have his company in school, and somebody to play baseball with and ride bikes and play games and, play guitars and whatever we were doing at that moment in our childhoods and teenage years. So, it was as normal as you could expect it to be for the work we were doing, I guess, or the occupation. We made the best of it.
Yeah, yes, it sounds like you guys didn't have a lot of challenges. There were some. It sounds like everything's going really good. And, of course, when it comes to My Three Sons, what do you consider your most favorite episode you've ever been in?
Well, the pilot's probably a pretty good one for me, because it kind of focused on Fred MacMurray's character and me. Kind of, there's these two women that like us. One's a little girl in my class, and at that age, boys don't really like girls, and she's just an annoyance. And then Fred is a widower, so all the women are after him because he's this hunk. And they're all women in their 30s, or looking to, I guess, seduce him and make him come into the Douglas household and become the mom, or whatever. Anyway, so the episode, he didn't really want to go out on the date. I think he's attracted to her, but it just didn't feel right. So at the end, we're both invited to a dance. Well, I'm invited to the dance, and I don't want to